This is my 2011 Street Triple 675, which has been converted to R-Spec. And this is the 2021 Street Triple 765 RS. 10 years apart, and how do these two bikes compare? Hi, I'm Phil and welcome to my channel.
If you follow me on Instagram, or if you're a regular visitor to this channel, then you would have seen photos and heard me talk about my best friend and riding buddy, Eliska, who is also known as Twinny, for obvious reasons. Now, I couldn't wait to get Eliska involved in one of my videos and show off her bike, but I was also keen to show you the Street Triple 765 RS, and I came up with this idea of comparing her bike with the new 2021 model. So this video is a little bit different to what I've done before. I hope you like it.
Let's go move the bikes.
So thanks for taking part in our video, matey.
No problem at all.
So, you passed your test in 2018, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah? And you bought this bike just a few months afterwards?
Yeah, I think it was, I passed, I think in end of September, I bought it in November. Yeah.
And what made you want to buy this particular bike?
I suppose it's just a classic, isn't it? It just looks cool. I love black and grey like you do. So, yeah, I don't know, it looks sporty. So I never really wanted a Harley or a scrambler or anything like that. So I thought naked was the way to go. And obviously sports bikes are a bit too much for a new rider. So
it's very sensible.
So yeah, I thought this would start me off well.
Yeah. And it's fair to say that you're rather in love with those chrome headlights, aren't you?
I am, yeah. I love them. They're little bug headlights. It's very cute.
Fantastic. So, is it okay if you showed me around your bike?
Sure. The previous owner worked at a Triumph dealer and basically fitted every possible extra that was available. It has Öhlins rear shocks, Daytona R forks, machined levers, braided brake lines, stomp grip tank grips, carbon swing arm protectors, full frame and engine protectors, under seat arrow exhausts, and it also came with a quick shifter, which I've removed for now to keep the insurance cost down. The rear pillion footrests have also been removed.
So, I should really point out to our followers that it's your doing, partly your doing, which is why I now own a Speed Triple, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Because I've been lucky enough to help you clean the bike, look after the bike.
Teach me the ways of biking, everything, yep.
Teach you the little bits that I know.
Yeah.
And just hanging out and just having a lot of fun together.
Yep.
So that's partly why we've got the name
The Triumph Twins.
Triumph Twins.
Yeah.
Also because of our OCD and creativeness and thoughts and
and many other weird similarities.
Other weird things. Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
So fantastic. So let's get you to have a sit on the new 21 Street Triple, shall we?
Sure, I'd love to.
So how does that feel, like size-wise, compared to your bike?
Well, yeah, the suspension's a lot softer compared to mine. I think height-wise, it's actually pretty good still, similar to my own bike. I mean, I am really tall, so that's a massive thing for me.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'1".
Now you've had a chance to sit on the new 2021 Street Triple,
Yeah.
765 RS. Honestly, how does it compare to your bike?
Well, yeah, it's just an updated version of my bike, I would say. Yeah, the suspension's a lot softer. Yeah, it just looks a bit more modern. Yeah, I mean, I love my bike, so I don't want to get rid of it, you know. So I don't think I can be enticed by anything new. I prefer like the older look, but I can imagine a lot of people would like something a bit fresher, something a bit more modern.
Does it feel very different to sit on compared to your bike?
I think it sits slower, but yeah, I think again that's all to do with the suspension and how hard my suspension is. I prefer, like, you know, if I pull up my leg here, I just feel like I'm a little less high on the tank than I am on those. But
Right.
yeah.
Well, thanks, matey.
No worries.
Very cool. Now, unfortunately, Eliska is a very busy girl and hasn't got time to ride the new 2021 765 RS. But because I know her bike pretty well, I'm able to compare both bikes. Now, I've already collected the bike from Triumph Essex and probably spent an hour, a little bit more, on the bike already. So I've already got a good feel for how the bike handles.
and sit down.
So it was yesterday that I had the Street Triple 765 RS from Triumph Essex. Now, as I said earlier, I've done quite a few miles on this bike, on Eliska's bike, which is, as we know, the Street Triple 675 converted to R-Spec. Now, the only miles that I have done are really local miles, so I may have ridden 30, 40 miles at a time. So no long full days, but I do feel like I've got a good understanding of this bike as well. So I just made a few notes actually, and I need my glasses because my eyes aren't as good as they used to be. So the first thing that Eliska really noticed, and I noticed as well, is the suspension. The suspension on this is really hard, like really hard. You feel every bump compared to the new 765. Now, as you know, as we said earlier, this has been updated, upgraded to the R-Spec. So we could change that, but it works fine. And it's perfect for her, she says, especially with her height as well. Gets the bike a little bit higher for her as well. Now the brakes, they're pretty abrupt on this bike, especially the front brake. The front brake, I've now really got used to it, but at first it was like, whoa, I feel like top rack, I feel like I'm going to do a stoppie down the road. The same with the back brake is really good, and I actually really noticed the difference between the brakes on this bike and the 765 RS. I've also noticed that I'm leaning forward on this bike. I'm sitting forward a little bit more on this bike, certainly compared to my speed, and also I think compared to the 765 RS. Now the seat design is totally different. Now I think this is one thing that also may help Eliska with her height, that she's able to push herself back a little bit more and grip these stomp grips with her knees. Now as far as the sound with these Arrow exhausts, the sound on all triple engines sound absolutely brilliant, but I do love the sound of these Arrow exhausts. In fact, I'm going to fire it up for you now. I'm not going to go too mad for now, but they're sweet, aren't they? So, as far as the ride's concerned, obviously, well not obviously, but this isn't as fast as the new 765 RS. I guess it is obvious really, but because the engine hasn't been modified in any way. So you do notice the difference in the speed, and the new one, as I say, is much smoother as well to ride. It took me a little while. Again, coming back to the handling, it took me a little while to get used to this, especially with the brakes and the seating position and everything else. But it really whizzes round the bends. Eliska absolutely loves riding this bike, and saying the miles that I've done on it recently, I've really just got used to this bike now. And yeah, you can put it into the bend and lean it over. It's a fantastic handling bike. This bike is due for some new tyres soon as well, so maybe we'll look into the Michelin Road 5s, which is what I've got, and then we can do a little bit more road touring use, because Eliska isn't really a sports rider, so I think that would be better for her. So something we're talking about. And of course I have to agree with her about the headlights. Now I love these chrome headlights, they're absolutely fantastic, and if you've seen my old full Popular, that's got very similar chrome headlights. So of course, being twinnies, we're going to love that, aren't we? And finally, it's just a fantastic bike. It's all round a really, really nice bike. As she said, when she sat on the 765, without even riding it, the 765 RS is just an updated version of this bike. But if you're looking for an older bike, and there are a few of them around and they do hold their value, I would recommend it. It's an amazing bike. So thanks to my friends at Triumph Essex, I got to spend an afternoon riding the 2021 Street Triple 765 RS. Now I've made some notes, so I'm going to tell you what I think about the bike. But the sharp-eyed ones amongst you may have noticed that this is a different bike, in a different colour. Now, I recently met Steve, a local bike meet, who owns this bike and just happens to live around the corner from me. Now this is in fact one of the very first models. It was launched in November 2019, and I just happened to be helping Triumph Essex at the launch, and I had the official t-shirt to prove that I was there. The Street Triple range has always been available in three specifications: the S, R and RS. Now the new model doesn't look massively different to the previous model, but there are enough changes to be noticeably different. The most noticeable change are the headlights, which have a more aggressive look and cool running lights. The side fairings have been modified and the rear seat section has been tweaked, plus you get a belly pan. The dash is a 5-inch TFT, which can be tilted to suit the rider. The biggest change to the new 765 RS model is the engine, which has been designed and engineered by Triumph's Motor 2 engine development team. It was one of the first engines produced to meet the Euro 5 requirements. It has more power and more torque, which is really notable in the mid-range compared to the previous model. The bike is classed as a mid-range sports bike and is part of Triumph's Roadster range. The bike really is a sports bike, but will work fine if you're looking for a bike to commute on. The turning circle is good, which makes the bike great for urban riding, and you can ride it at slow speeds without any problems, but that's really not what the bike is made for. The chassis is the same as the Daytona 675, which everyone loves because it handles so well.
Now the handling of this bike is incredible. With the combination of the tyres, the suspension, the weight of the bike, it just makes a very flickable bike and just invites you to really push it into the bends. This bike really likes to be wound up. A lot of people prefer the street triple over the speed triple. Now I think that really comes down to the style of riding that you do.
The suspension is smooth, it irons out most of the bumps, and remember, it is fully adjustable. O-rings at the rear and Showa at the front. It has Brembo brakes front and rear. Now I did give the brakes a light squeeze, both before entering a bend and while riding through the bend, and they have a really smooth action and do the job, as you would expect from Brembo. I noticed immediately after getting off my speed how light the throttle was on the 765. The acceleration is wicked and a lot of fun. The engine response is lovely and smooth, and I can feel the difference between road and sports mode. There's also a rain, track and a custom rider mode. The shift assist on the 765 is again really sweet. You can shift up and down the gears. The tyres are Pirelli Diablo Supercorsa SP tyres, which are great on hot days and on the track, but I'm not sure how they will handle in the wet. Let me know what you think if you have the Street Triple fitted with those tyres. The exhaust looks nice with the carbon tip and sounds really nice too. A lot of people do change the silencer for an aftermarket exhaust, which will transform the sound. If I was to compare the sound of the 765 RS to Eliska's 675 with the Arrow exhaust, if I'm honest, the Arrows win, but loud exhausts aren't for everyone.
So Steve, the owner of this bike, has actually made a few modifications and added a few extras. So let me show you what those extras are.
A front guard fender extender, a TFT screen cover. Now I have heard that sun glare on the TFT can be a problem, so this will solve that problem. A Triumph fly screen visor, crash guards, tank grips, a Triumph tail tidy, a Triumph rear light in white as opposed to red, and the list goes on.
So I'd just like to thank Steve for bringing his bike along so I can do some close-ups and tell you a little bit about it.
Overall, if you're looking for a mid-range sports bike, then I would highly recommend you take the Street Triple 765 RS out for a test ride. It's an awesome bike. Depending on your budget, I would also suggest you test ride the new Speed Triple 1200 RS, or wait a while to test the new RR, especially if you want that extra bit of power.
Subscribe, like and comment.
That's my line. Thanks for watching.
And this is the 2021 Street Triple 765 RS. I'll do it again. 10 years apart, how do these two bikes? Sorry. I'll do it again. Are you, whenever, yeah? I always end up with a compare. Why can't I just say compare?
It's fine. Go on.
On the recommendation of one of my instructors, actually.
Fantastic,
Yeah.
fantastic. And what made you want to buy this particular bike?
We need to start again because I already told you it was because of my instructor.
So, you want to show me around your bike?
Okay. What am I showing you? The arrow
No,
exhaust?
let's do that again. I've got that all written down.
Well, what
So-
am I doing then doing?
So,
Okay.
as you say,
Okay, yes.
whatever you want to say. So, would you like to show me around your bike?
Yes.
Of course. So, yeah. So, is it okay if you show me around your bike?
Sure.
Right.
The previous owner was a Triumph dealer. Start again.
So, I should really point out to our followers that it's your doing, partly your doing, which is why I now own a that is one of the reasons why we call ourselves the Twinnies,
The Triumph Twins.
and other reasons. So thanks to my friends at Triumph Essex, I got to play, blah blah. Cut that up.
Hi, I'm Eliska. I'm your best friend. We've known each other since 2000 and...
2000 and, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Anyway, let's give this a go, mate.
Okay. Right.
When you're ready.
Okay. This is my 2011 Street Triple 675, which has been converted to R-Spec. Is that right?